said you spoke with President Xi. Have you spoken to him since the tariffs? When did you last
I don't want to comment on that, but I've spoken to him many times. The tariff plan is doing very well. We're resetting the table. We're going to make our country very rich, very, very rich. It's already happening.
China, meantime, has been denying that there are any kind of formal talks going. Spokesperson for its foreign ministry saying China and the United States have not held any consultations or negotiations on tariffs, so the United States should not mislead the public. Michael Sobolik is with us right now. He's a senior fellow at the Hudson Institute, specializes in U.S.-China relations, author of this book, Countering China's Great Game, a Strategy for American Dominance. Okay, Michael, welcome. Thanks for coming on. I would put it to the side unless you think it's significant, and that's fine, whether or not there are formal talks going on. Everybody's, well, they're not talking, they're talking. And go back to what Nancy was reporting on from the Port of Los Angeles, because to me, that has been the story this week, certainly. These retail CEOs come in, you might be looking at empty store shelves, Mr. President, and that kind of thing. And it seems like now we have a changed conversation. What do you think?
So the thing about the talks is he said, she said, let's talk about what really matters here. The United States of America is in a Cold War with the Chinese Communist Party, and this economic trade war that President Trump is fighting right now is a subset of that broader Cold War. The problem is with the way the administration has gone about prosecuting this trade war so far, there is no recognition of that broader competition. President Trump needs to make the case to the American people that this is about more than tariffs. This is about more than the state of the economy. This is about national security and who is going to lead in the 21st century, because Xi Jinping is abundantly clear. He wants China to win and America to lose.
And wouldn't, if that's the case, the execution of it be different as well, as opposed to, going back and forth with tariffs that are effectively high enough to freeze trade? And again, go back to the store shelf comparison or the higher prices. I mean, if you're going to fight this war, it doesn't make sense for either side necessarily to fight it that way, does it? Or does it?
If this is a Cold War, and it is, then we need more tools than just tariffs. You're absolutely right. Because, listen, like China is already going beyond tariffs. They're singling out U.S. companies for retaliation, blocking their access to China's market. And even beyond that, they're going to find every single way they can to exploit us and weaken us. And they're doing it, believe it or not, with TikTok. A lot of us have moved past TikTok with the news cycles, but China hasn't. They're leveraging it to target U.S. consumers to influence them against the president's trade war. This is happening on TikTok right now. Multiple outlets have reported on this. So, listen, President Trump needs leverage beyond tariffs. There's plenty of other things he can do to compete. But one of the best things he can do is take out TikTok now.
Okay, so that's one. So that's interesting that you bring up TikTok. So and that's China uses that. We take it out. Okay, that's your view. What else? I mean, what other leverage points are available to the president? Because right now he's into the tariffs. What else? What should he be doing that he's not?
Several. So number one, go after banks in China that have violated U.S. and international sanctions on Iran and North Korea, Bank of China among them. Listen, beyond that, delist Chinese companies from U.S. securities exchanges. They're not in compliance with their reporting to the SEC anyways. This should have been done a long time ago, because by allowing Chinese companies that are connected to China's military to list on U.S. securities, we're funding our own destruction with our pension funds. That makes zero sense. Get them out of our economy. And finally, if he's looking for more leverage, remove the significant degree of financial and economic autonomy we give Hong Kong. Xi Jinping cracked down there. We haven't responded appropriately. There are a lot of different things the president can do.
Okay, so there are a lot of buzzwords thrown around in these discussions, and when we go back and forth with China, one has been this idea of decoupling. So is that essentially what you're calling for, which means this? I mean, to me, it means we'd have basically be living in two different worlds. With kind of a U.S. economy where we have our own partners, and China's kind of on the other side, and they're on their own, they're doing their own thing. Is that sort of what you're calling for, or something different?
So the stuff that matters the most, yes. This is what it's going to have to come down to. If the Chinese Communist Party is out, not just to weaken America, but to supplant America, to sow doubt in our own institutions, then we're going to have to reduce our economic dependency on these guys, because we are fueling their strength and investing in our own destruction. That doesn't mean we're going to cut off trade totally, because that would be maybe cut off our nose to spite our face. But let's not kid ourselves. We're going to have to take some pretty intense moves here.
Okay, but that's sort of what we're doing now with the tariffs as high as they are. So we got to figure it out, maybe rewind a little bit and come up with some other methods.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.